This is going to be a arcade one-up review. The cabinet or gaming console is by Capcom, featuring Final Fight, Ghost Goblins 1944, and Strider. So when I first received this particular package, it came to my door because I had to get this particular unit off of eBay. This particular model has been discontinued, and if you find it out there in the market, it's going to be expensive. I've seen them go for as much as $400 to $500. It all depends on who's selling it, because I was a little disappointed because this particular model here was what I originally passed up when they first came out, and I went back to get it, and then I couldn't find it anywhere, and then I found out that they were discontinued. It was not easy finding it. It took me a while to actually get this particular model. The shipper was very good, came from delivered to my door, UPS, and this thing is pretty heavy. It does say on the box, 2 people are required, and that's for certain the case here. I was able to get through the packaging, which took me a hell of a lot longer than what I thought it would be, and as displayed here, each piece, they were not that difficult to put together. This particular item here, as you can see, it comes in almost like 3 pieces in the box. It's packed very well. As you can see, they have each item, the electronical parts are in one box, and then on the other box is some of the smaller components for the cabinet. The majority of it is the side paneling here, which takes up the bulk of the box, and it was not difficult to assemble at all. Very user-friendly. Going through the box, had to make sure everything was there, the instructions and so forth. I learned something on my old job, which was to, when you get anything that's of electronics, we would typically store it and sometimes come back and grab it as needed. But I found out that when we would do that, sometimes you would exceed the warranty, and then you're left with a product if it doesn't work. There were times where some things were either broken, didn't work. So the first thing I wanted to do was, when I received this item, was the screen, which is a 17-inch LED screen. I wanted to make sure I plugged that up, and since this was shipped and wasn't sure how rough it would be handled, I wanted to ensure that that screen would work well. So I plugged that up. That was one of the first things I wanted to check to ensure that the electronic component would work fine, and it did. And so I moved on to the next item. You would have to hook that cabling up to the panel, and then turn it, connect that to the outlet, turn that on. Pretty simple display. It's like ABC 1, 2, 3. You just put certain pieces together. Assembly time for this thing took me, the build was about anywhere from an hour and a half, or hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. As you can see here, I think with one of the items with the side panels, you just match up. You take G and the pegs, or even the screws. All you need is really like a screwdriver. I had an electronic drill. Here I'm connecting the other portion, or the center pieces that will stabilize the unit. Also, within doing that, I think these pieces here that I'm pulling out are the portions that support the console, where the joysticks are. But this is a sturdy unit. The way it's designed, and once you put it together, I mean, you could never tell that this was not a full system like back in the day. Somewhere around this time frame, I was looking at it was about 45 minutes to an hour in of me putting this together. I did take a couple of breaks, so that's why I said it takes about an hour and a half, but you can probably do it in like anywhere from an hour, depending on how fast you want to go with this. Make sure a lot of the panels are packaged very well, and they all come with plastic sleeving that you insert your actual panel, your joystick console and your button console, and that pretty much concluded the bulk of this. One thing I did not show was incorporating the LED screen, the display screen. but for the most part, that just pops right in the back, and you're all set to go. The unit stands anywhere from about, I think it's about 3 feet to 4, anywhere from 3 to 4 feet tall. If you don't have a riser, there's the insertion or the completed part of the entire cabinet, and you can get an idea of how hollow it is, but nevertheless with the other components, it gives it a nice weight. So if you do jerk it around a lot, which you're going to do when you're playing some of these games, it's going to stand up pretty well. For the most part, you just plug this one little piece into that control box, and then you plug it into the wall, or you make sure that the cabling comes outside of the back panel. There's like a little hole, or a couple of holes. There's an actual hole, so if something goes wrong, you can just unscrew the back panel and then pull off the actual back itself. And then there's a smaller hole that the wiring will you thread through, and then that will plug into the actual outlet of your wall. So this is the final installation piece. This is my setup for the original one-up I have, and this gives you a look of what it looks like, of how you can sit it on a bar or some type of countertop, and you can see the height of it, which is not that tall. These are the one-ups that you have to purchase. So this one's already built. I haven't purchased another one yet. And the story behind this, I really didn't want this one at all. I brought this unit by mistake, put it together, couldn't take it back, and it really wasn't, or didn't have all the games on it that I wanted. And so for the most part, what I'm gonna do is just sit that on top. Of course, you can see Final Fight is up there, and everything else I kind of don't care about. 1944 was all I really wanted, and having Final Fight was a bonus. So these other two I probably will never play. I wanted to give an idea of what a setup like this is like if you've never had one or going to purchase it, because I think from a standpoint of not having that, these little mini ones are just exceptional to me. I think they really get the job done. They're very durable, they're easy to put together, and you know, if you want to have that nostalgic throwback, this is the perfect thing. If you have two people, depending on your size, and if you're ambitious and you're a particular age, you might want some help with this one, but it's not too heavy. You just have to be careful, and for the most part, take your time. Now all I'm going to do is screw these in, and then that will affix and attach the console or the bottom base to the actual rest of the arcade. So this is what it's looking like, and here we have Final Fight, Ghosts and Goblins, 1944, my favorite, and Skrider. I don't know what that is, so digging, I didn't give a damn about this one, but I was just interested in one game, and Final Fight was the bonus for me. This does look familiar. This is basic action game, just kind of hit, jump. And I'm gonna stop it right there, because in Capcom's era, to me, they were always progressive and one of the best. At least to me, they were always one of my favorites, so far as from a graphic standpoint, and with some of their video design. 1944 is what I remember growing up with, so far as just spending hours on the game, and I think I even flipped the game one time. But from a standpoint of childhood memories, this was the one that did it for me, and I had to have it. For the most part, this will be the one I will primarily play. Of course, Capcom does a lot of the X-Men and the Marvel games that a lot of people wanted and do have. That never really was for me. I appreciated it, but that wasn't my thing. Street Fighter and so forth. Like them, but didn't play them all that much. Everybody's got their favorite go-to. For me, this was mine. You
You can turn the sound down. That's what's beautiful about these machines too. I like the fact that you can, you know, if somebody else is in the room or whatever the case may be, or somebody's watching a game, depending on where you have this thing located, you can actually turn the sound off or down or up to high. They have good speaker systems, and from what I understand, you can also upgrade these consoles. So, man, I highly recommend Arcade 1-Up. I think their sales are probably through the roof, because I'm sure from an affordable standpoint, a lot of people have purchased these. They're not too big. They're not too cumbersome. The construction is sturdy, and it's lightweight enough. I mean, you're not going to be jerking around with so much anyway. But I think these guys struck gold on these, and I think you'll definitely see a lot more of these pop up over time. Look at that, great graphics. You can also, you know, you can play all of these games on any of the other systems, PlayStations and the Xboxes or whatever, on the retro gaming systems. But there's nothing like having an actual, your own little mini console like this, to have that nostalgic feeling for, you know, most of us that kind of grew up in that arcade era. It's like, I mean, talk about, I'm all about, you know, having fun on a budget or buying things on a budget. And this is, in my opinion, one of the best ways that you can get something that's nostalgic and not break the bank. And there again, it could be something that you can tote around if you need to, or if you move, you don't have to worry about it being a big deal. I don't know what these things are like so far from a standpoint as how they stand up over time from them breaking or anything, but I haven't seen any reports or any reviews of that being of an issue, which is a great thing. I mean, for the most part, this is like a 17-inch screen interlaid and perfectly placed in back of particle wood type piece boards, and it's just a smart design. I'm 6'3", and right now this thing is coming at kind of like right here at, you know, the top part of my chest, and that's on one of the 1-Up stands. So you can take this off the stand, and then you'll have it around to like 3.5 to 4 feet or something like that. So they're going to be something that's going to be around for a while, I believe. And as Christmas and whatnot comes around, I think you'll see more of these pop up in people's basements, play areas, or, you know, people's second room, whatever, wherever you have it in your home. It's going to be one of those additions that most people are going to gravitate to and really enjoy. It took me about 1.5 hours to assemble, and they do stress that it's an easy assembly, which it is. The box is very heavy, but for the most part, it does require 2 people, because when everything is compact, this is a dense and heavy piece of equipment. But once you break it all down, in the way they have it compartmentalized, in the way it's insulated, and how they assembled it in the boxing, it's very secure, and everything is pretty stationary. Like nothing was broken, there are no missing pieces or anything like that. The bolts and whatnot, for the most part, are minimal and easy and extremely user-friendly. These are, I mean, 1-Up, like I said, whoever put this together to put out these retro games, I mean, they money in the bank, because they're doing I know their sales have to be like extremely through the roof. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the review.